have become different and will never be the same again. Over the past 5 years, unmotivated soldiers of the Ukrainian security forces have been replaced by warriors of a new generation. And instead of a half-dismembered army, today we have a powerful and modernized force. Well learned in combat with no right for mistakes. The Russian Federation has launched a war of aggression against Ukraine. We have nothing left but to accept the battle, protect our land, learn as we go, and win. After the thorny path they've gone through, Ukrainian soldiers have reached a new level of training and have come abreast with one of the world's strongest armies. Our armed forces significantly strengthen Ukraine's position in dialogue with Western partners, as well as in the dialogue with, say, the enemy. And generally, the armed forces are becoming the backbone of Ukrainian society. In such a short span of time, Ukraine has performed miracles in modernizing its security forces. After the Revolution of Dignity, it was decided to revive the National Guard on the basis of internal troops. Now its ranks are regularly replenished with motivated and patriotic young people. When the war started, I watched it on TV, on the internet, and how it all was happening. I decided to defend my country and join the army. People like Oleksandr still have much to learn, but the main thing is that today these fresh recruits already have living examples to follow. Warriors that have spent several years successfully fighting both armed separatists and professional Russian army are ready to share their experience. Quietly come and quietly go, but make sure to fulfill your mission objective and leave no trace of your presence. Ukrainian scouts are some of the best trained in the world. With a panther's grace and a tiger's resoluteness, these guys sneak in deep behind the enemy ranks to retrieve information, eliminate or capture top-level officers. Before each mission, the bats, this is what these scouts call themselves, take time to carefully think through the plan, down to the smallest detail. When on a mission, they even communicate in their own language, which only they understand. Before departing for a mission, we define certain gestures. Of course, there are some common gestures, but still, to make sure the soldiers in the group understand each other better, we come up with separate gestures, which everyone learns perfectly, so we can use them. In the current war conditions, a scouting party, in fact, is the only unit that performs its combat missions without bulletproof vests. They need to have a full range of motion and skillfully navigate the terrain with great speed and swiftness. And even if the scouts detect hostile saboteurs or scouting units on their path, they will do their best to avoid combat. But should it come down to battle, the Ukrainian bats will leave the opponent no chance. A classified special unit performs these exercises 7 days a week. High-speed shooting skills must be drilled until they become a second nature. They use well-known Kalashnikov rifles and Makarov pistols, as well as unique Ukrainian-made weapons, Ford 14 pistols and Ford 224 assault rifles. Ford 224 assault rifle. It's designed for effective shooting range of up to 500 meters. The rifle's body is made of impact-resistant plastic. It can fire both 545 and 765 ammunition, as well as NATO 556 cartridges. The rifle weighs 3 kilograms and 600 grams. Its total length is 58 centimeters. A single magazine contains 30 rounds. Fire rate is up to 1,000 shots per minute. It's very nice to see that Ukraine is capable of developing and manufacturing such weapons. This rifle is based on the Israeli Uzi system. It's a very good system that has proven itself all around the world and still is in great demand today. For the National Guard, for the armed forces, for the Ukrainian military, this opens up huge horizons and a high level of military capacity. Ukraine's military-industrial complex regularly supplies its soldiers with not only effective small arms, but also reliable modern wheeled vehicles. Assault units of the National Guard of Ukraine often perform their missions in Varta armored cars. They have an excellent track record in the anti-terrorist operation zone and within the Joint Forces operation. Varta is a Ukrainian special armored vehicle based on a MAZ 5434 chassis with improved anti-landmine defenses. Ukraine has had it in service since 2015. Its total mass is 15.5 tons, length 6.8 meters, width 2.55 meters, height 2.7 meters. Its operational range is 700 kilometers, engine power 380 HP. It can travel at speeds of up to 90 kilometers per hour. The vehicle is armored with an NSVT machine gun. Its crews consist of 2 soldiers, as well as 8 transported troopers. Support provided us with the opportunity to improve the quality of training. Now I can say that the program under which the military personnel in the partner countries train goes in parallel with our own program. If we take this into account, there are no particular differences. However, we pay more attention to such topics as urban warfare. Skill training for assault teams is divided into several stages: general military training, tactical medicine, military topography, and engineering training. In this case, a group of guardsmen is working on responding to sudden contact with the enemy, performing a maneuver and retreating to a safe position. We share experience. No book, no manual can teach a soldier better than a person who took part in actual armed combat. This is why they're eager to visit us. I mean the representatives of NATO member countries. They come here to learn, to listen, to see how to organize combat today, under the current conditions of hybrid warfare. During training, the soldiers work a lot on practical exercises. According to their instructors, no more than 20% of the time allocated to training is spent on theory. On the other hand, general coordination, muscle memory, and sense of camaraderie must become second nature, let alone the so-called third arm sense. That is the essence of the service weapon. In order to understand it perfectly, during training they use exclusively live rounds. Each serviceman needs to understand the behavior of his weapon, and in order to understand the way your weapon handles and fires, 3 rounds, as it was during the 2000s, is absolutely insufficient. The results of shooting are recorded by senior officers. Then they perform analytical work and adjust any errors, and then it's back to combat. The experience from conducting the counter-terrorist operation and joint forces operation proves that most often the enemy attacks our positions during twilight hours. That is why night shooting became an integral part of Ukrainian soldiers' training. Today we're equipped with thermal imagers, night sights, and other night vision devices. In addition to that, combat officers are training the guys to adjust their firing in conditions of zero visibility. How to correctly see your target, how to detect it, how to correctly give an order, and how to direct your subordinates. Therefore, this is a necessary requirement. War never stops. It continues day, night, and in summer. A Ukrainian soldier is a versatile soldier. And these are not just big words, but high praises of our partner countries. The Russian aggression in the east of Ukraine goes far beyond all written and unwritten laws of war. We're dealing with a hybrid style of warfare by the aggressor, and all this under conditions of a demi-season climate and of an urban warfare. Thanks to its drive to win and support from allies, the Ukrainian security forces stand as a very powerful unit on the military map of today's world. There are a large number of serious weapons and missiles produced by the state, as well as unmanned aerial vehicles, which weren't even represented in Ukraine before the war. I think that all this together, as well as a motivated officer corps, soldiers, and good equipment, resulted in the fact that the Ukrainian army was given very high ratings. Under the conditions of progress in the Ukrainian military-industrial complex, efficiency of methods, local victories on the battlefields, and diplomatic arenas, we never forget about the main thing. The basis of all tactics, capabilities, and weapons is human life. With the transition of the Ukrainian military to a qualitatively new level of medical training, they react to injuries in accordance with the NATO TCCC protocol. TCCC protocol stands for Tactical Combat Casualty Care. It consists of 3 stages. The first is provided medical care under fire during contact with the enemy. The second is tactical field care, performed in a relatively safe zone. The third is tactical evacuation of the wounded. Armed units that follow and comply with the TCCC protocol decrease their fatal losses by up to 20% of the total amount of injured on the battlefield. According to statistics, up to 70% of the wounded die due to loss of blood and incorrectly administered first aid, up to 27% due to tension pneumothorax, and only 2% are killed by direct fatal strikes. Using the advanced methods of the TCCC protocol, Ukraine has greatly decreased the amount of fatalities. The TCCC protocol is used by the militaries of NATO states. It, in fact, was written in the blood of soldiers from other countries, and in the view of recent events, from our country as well. But the start to this was given abroad. They analyzed the data from the military campaigns in Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan. They're taught to win, not die a dramatic death for their homeland. Today, Ukrainian warriors know how to do just about everything. In addition to that, the level of the people's trust in their security forces is almost 70%. Intelligence bodies report that in recent years, pro-Russian collaborationists and mercenaries were simply refusing to enter combat against the Ukrainian army, as they consider it to be a brave, powerful, and well-equipped force. And we can honestly say that such disobedience is well-grounded.